If the mother and the baby are healthy, and we're a week before birth, and the parents change their mind and say, we don't want a boy, we want a girl, abort the baby who happens to be a girl, would you support that right?
I know no one who would go as far as what you're indicating.
Well, then why wouldn't you say you would oppose it?
Because I'm telling you where I stand.
No,
and I have
not.
been very
You're
clear on that for a long time.
And weaving and flip-flopping like a
Let me stand as
cat
still as
fish.
you'd like. Senator, I won't move, and I'll just move my lips.
If a week before birth, baby healthy, mother healthy, would you support the right to an abortion because the parents dislike the gender of the baby? Yes or no?
Yeah, as I said, a woman should have the right
But you
to make the
haven't said,
decisions
Mr.
about her body.
Secretary, you won't answer my question. Mr. Secretary, if the mother is healthy and the baby is healthy, do you really support abortion of the baby up to the moment of birth?
Senator, let me make sure, to the moment of birth, you're saying after gestation, the 40 weeks?
You know what I'm saying, Mr. Secretary.
Well,
let's suppose it's the day before the due date, and the baby is fully formed, and the baby's healthy, and the mother is healthy. Do you support aborting the right to abort the baby then?
I've heard no one say that. I think everyone has said, those who support reproductive rights have said, support Roe versus Wade.
You said it in 2020 in a press release. This is what you said. You said, quote, no government, state or federal, has the right to make decisions for a woman about her body or her health care, end quote. Your words, not mine.
Good words.
So let me ask you again. Up to the moment of birth, if the mother's healthy and the baby's healthy, do you believe that there should be the right to abort that baby up to the moment of birth?
Again, I'll give you the answer. I have always supported Roe v. Wade, which does not do what you've just said. And I know of no one who is proposing or advocating what you've just announced. And I would hope that what you would recognize is that that should not stop a woman from having the right to decide for herself with the consultation of her physician what she should do.
Would you support making it illegal to abort a baby if the mother's healthy and the baby is healthy on the day before that baby is scheduled to be born?
I certainly would support the reestablishment of Roe versus Wade.
Okay. So you think that there are restrictions that the state, federal or state, as the case may be, can place on abortion?
Senator, if you talk to any woman, she'll tell you that she uses common sense in making her decisions.
Do you think that the state or the federal government in the third trimester of a pregnancy has the right to impose limitations, moral and legal right to impose limitations on an abortion? I think that's a yes or no.
I would certainly say that Roe v. Wade answered those questions. We defend and support Roe versus Wade.
Roe v. Wade has been overturned. I want your answer. Do you support restrictions by the federal or the state government on the right to an abortion in the third trimester?
And my answer is clear that if we establish Roe versus Wade, we get back to a system that gives women protection.
Do you support restrictions to the right to an abortion in the third trimester? Why are you dodging the question?
I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm telling you where I am. I am.
Now, tell me, do you support restrictions in the third trimester?
I have
if
personally.
The mother's healthy and the baby's healthy.
Yeah, and Senator, let me try to make sure I answer this. Personally, as you mentioned, I've been quoted on a number of occasions before I became secretary. I support a woman's right to make a decision about her body.
But do you support restrictions in the third trimester? I just asked, why are you embarrassed to answer?
Because I believe in Roe versus Wade, and I think everyone recognizes that
that Roe v. Wade?
I do.
Roe v. Wade allowed for restrictions in the third trimester.
Then you have your answer.
Do you support restrictions in the third trimester?
If Roe versus Wade is as you described it.
Why are you scared to answer the question?
I'm not afraid to answer. I'm
asking. Are you worried you're going to get in trouble with people, with your colleagues
no,
who support
not at all.
abortion up to the moment of birth?
Not at all.
Then why won't you answer the question?
Because, Senator, I think I've given you the answer that makes the most sense. Roe versus Wade worked for some 50 years.
Do you support restrictions in the third trimester on the right to abortion? It's real simple. You're the secretary of a department of the United States of America.
Yeah.
Do you support them or do you oppose them?
My answer is pretty simple. We will
It
defend
wasn't simple.
Roe versus
You don't want to
Wade.
answer it, do you?
I've answered.
You know why you don't want to answer? Because you and your colleagues believe that a child has no rights, even a fully developed child. You know that?
You can say that.
And I know.
I know where I am. I will continue
Okay,
to
let me
defend
ask
a
you
woman's
for
right.
a final time. I think this is number 5.
It's not going to make any difference. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, if you want to choose to not answer it, that's up to you.
I'm not denying anything.
Let me phrase it another way. What restrictions do you support in the third trimester to the right to an abortion? Tell me what restrictions.
If you read the Roe versus Wade decision, it'll answer your question.
Why don't you just answer it for me?
I did. Roe versus Wade
What
established the
restrictions
protection.
do you support on the right to an abortion in the third trimester? You
Roe versus
personally.
Wade. Roe versus Wade.
Okay. Roe versus Wade doesn't say what restrictions. Roe versus Wade just says the state and the federal government have the right to impose restrictions. I'm asking you, what restrictions you support? For example, if the mother and the baby are healthy and we're a week before birth and the parents change their mind and say, we don't want a boy, we want a girl, abort the baby who happens to be a girl, would you support that right?
I know no one who would go as far as what you're indicating.
Well, then wouldn't you say you would oppose it?
Because I'm telling you where I stand.
No,
and I
you're
have
not.
been very
You're
clear on
dodging
that for a
and
long
bobbing
time.
and weaving and flip-flopping
No.
like
Let
a
me stand as still as
catfish.
you'd like. Senator, I won't move, and
Let me
I'll just
ask
move
you
my
again.
lips.
If a week before birth, baby healthy, mother healthy, would you support the right to an abortion because the parents dislike the gender of the baby? Yes or no?
Yeah, as I said, a woman should have the right
But you
to make the
haven't said,
decisions
Mr.
about her body.
Secretary, you won't answer my question. Would you support that?
As I said, I'm going to do everything I can to support a woman's right to make the
Would you
decisions about
support
her
what I
body.
just described? You're not going to answer me, are you? I don't understand why you're scared to answer me.
I'm not afraid to answer your question. I've answered it over and
You're
over.
scared
Thank you,
to
Senator
death to
Kennedy.
answer me. I just find that appalling. You're the secretary of the department. Mr. Secretary, how many employees does the Department of Health and Human Services have?
Roughly 90,000, Senator.
And your testimony is that half are back in the office full-time and half aren't?
That the OMB guidance essentially calls for a process where we
I
can have
understand the
physically.
OMB guidance.
Yeah.
Is it your testimony that half are back of those 90,000 are back in the office full-time and half aren't?
My testimony is that we are in compliance with the OMB guidance on how we handle the workforce.
Is it your testimony that half of the 90,000 are back in the office full-time and half aren't?
Again, my testimony is that we are complying with the OMB guidance. We can make sure you know what the guidance is, so
I
you
do
know what we're
the
complying
guidance
with.
is. I'm just trying to understand how you've implemented it. What percentage of your employees are back in the office full-time?
I could try to get that information back
You
to you
don't
because
know?
we have a mix. I came to talk about the budget, but I can try
You
to
don't
get
have
back
any idea how many of your 90,000 people are back in the office full-time?
I can tell you the types of mix of employment that we have.
Yeah, but that's what I'm asking. You got 90,000 employees.
That's right.
How many are back in the office full-time? What percentage?
And as
You
I
don't
said,
know?
this is a budget hearing. I came to talk about the budget.
Yeah,
but
but
if
you don't know. You don't know how many of your people are back in the office full-time.
I can get back to you, Senator.
I find
I
that
could get you as
astounding.
best I can a response to that particular question, but I came here to talk about the president's
why
budget.
is Medicare Advantage so popular?
I'm sorry?
Why is Medicare Advantage so popular?
Why is Medicare Advantage so popular? You'll have to help me with what do you mean by
You don't
that?
know what Medicare Advantage is?
Absolutely know what Medicare Advantage is.
Yeah,
When
why
you
is
say
it so
popular, is there some survey that you're talking about or what?
Yeah, I deal in numbers.
Okay.
About half of our seniors who qualify for Medicare choose Medicare Advantage, don't they?
That's actually more than half.
Okay. And why is that? That makes it popular, right?
Medicare Advantage today, this is the first year that we've seen more individuals select plans in the Medicare Advantage
Why is it
managed
so
care program.
popular?
Again, when you say popular, I've heard many Medicare beneficiaries who are complaining about being stuck in a Medicare Advantage
Well,
plan.
is it because the average person, average senior on Medicare Advantage pays $2,400 less in premiums on Medicare Advantage as opposed to traditional Medicare, plus gets more services like dental and vision in many respects? Could that have something to do with it, you think?
I'm assuming that you've seen some polling or surveys that give you some of those answers. I've heard many, many things,
No,
both
I've
good and
seen
bad about
I've
Medicare
seen the
Advantage.
facts. Are you telling me that people on Medicare Advantage don't save money in premiums and copays over traditional Medicare?
I have no
that your
doubt that some
testimony?
do, but I wouldn't have no doubt that some pay more.
I'm talking about the average.
Again, I don't know what numbers you're referring to, but I'm more than willing to
at the
discuss
numbers
those with
that your
you.
department puts out.
Okay, then what are those numbers,
The
Senator?
numbers say that the average person on
I'm asking if
Medicare
you could show me the
Advantage
numbers.
pays $2,400 less in premiums and copays and gets extra benefits. Is that right?
My understanding is they're also restricted in the doctors they have access to, the hospitals they have access to.
You're trying to destroy Medicare Advantage, aren't you?
We've actually provided an increase in funding for Medicare Advantage.
No, you haven't.
Sure we have.
You cut funding in 2023 by 1.1%.
That's absolutely incorrect.
And you next year you're proposing a 0.16% cut. And in fact, the Medicare
That's absolutely incorrect.
that's not incorrect.
That's absolutely
and
incorrect.
in fact, the Medicare trustees,
Senator, saying it doesn't make
the
it
Medicare trustees said that you've lost your mind. My words, not theirs.
true. Senator, saying something doesn't make it true. The dollar amount that we're giving to health insurance companies under Medicare Advantage
Are you telling
has
me today
increased.
that you have not cut payments to insurers in Medicare Advantage last year by 1.1%?
We are giving Medicare
denying
Advantage. Health insurance
Are you
companies
denying that?
under Medicare Advantage are receiving more money this year than they got last year from
You
Medicare.
cut them by 1.1%.
That's not a cut, Senator.
And you're proposing another 0.1% cut. In fact, I mean, you and President Biden say you will not touch a hair on the head of Medicare, but you're trying to destroy Medicare Advantage.
Actually, the president's budget extends the life of Medicare beyond your and my lifetime.
Look at the numbers. In 2023, under your watch, Medicare Advantage patients saw on average a 12% increase in deductible and a 5%
The
increase
insurance
in
companies did
premiums.
that, not us, Senator.
And Florida and Utah and Wyoming saw their premiums go up 50%.
Okay, Senator, blame the insurance companies, not us.
Because you cut the payments
Senator,
to the
we did not
insurance
cut.
companies to drive them to traditional Medicare where you can control them better. Isn't that the case?
The fiction you're propounding doesn't resolve the issue that we have every year so far under this administration increased the funding for health insurance companies who offer these managed care Medicare Advantage plans.